Hello, it's Nikki. How are you doing? Today is a monumental date in my calendar and one that I didn't know if I would get to or not. And actually in the beginning, I wasn't thinking in this way. I was thinking about simply putting one foot in front of the other, doing the first day, doing the first week, the first month, the first quarter, and seeing what happened. This week I am celebrating running every single day for half a year. So 6 months of doing it. And if you haven't followed the habit, if you've no idea what I'm talking about, I will very quickly fill you in. On the 19th of November 2023, I made a decision that I was each and every day going to commit 15 minutes to myself. I was at a point where I felt last year was really stretchy for me. I think there was a lot to do with turning 40 and getting rid of old stuff. And I was really ready for a new chapter. And I think often when we are ready for a new chapter, not everything comes with us. I'd also had 7 years of sleep deprivation. So I was really craving some energy back into my body, some connection with myself. Also, I really wanted to see what was possible and to connect with a new version of myself. And I know from past experience that running gives me so much. And so the actual action was easy. I then just had to decide on the time. Now, as I've always said, my ego was not impressed with 15 minutes. My ego was like, no, you're going to do this. And why don't you do 10K a day? And why don't you, it was very adventurous, my ego. And I actually came back to the very basic of whatever happens in my day, the likelihood is I will be able to do 15 minutes. And the rational side of me was absolutely right. 15 minutes has been doable and it's been very much part of my routine. But as I talk to you today, what I have gained is so much more than running. And I'm not going to show measurements or before or after pictures or anything like that because A, I don't have them, and B, it's not about that. For me, I am now in a position where I have 6 months of data of me reconnecting with myself again, getting to know myself every single day. And what has happened in that time is I have learned so much about myself. I've learned where my strengths are, the things that I don't want to do. I've reconnected with my monthly cycles much more. I understand my mind a lot better. The old familiar patterns of oh no, I don't fancy doing that today. Oh, blah, la, 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 all of it. And I've really got to know myself. And as I look back on my life, I've really enjoyed those containers, those windows of opportunity to go all in. And when I speak to my clients or hear conversations around, sometimes there is a resistance to going all in because it could be to do with sort of post-COVID and things like that everything's subject to change. And also as well, we put so much emphasis, rightly so in some cases, on how we're going to feel. I don't know how I'm going to feel a month from now, so I don't know if I should get started on this habit. But the thing is, you're not always going to feel like you want to do the habit. But it's about not necessarily paying attention to the feeling. It's about paying attention to what you're doing it for, your why. Why is this in the mix right now? And I also noticed it last year when I did a 10-week acting course. That was a big stretch for me to commit at that level. Even though some people might say, well, it's only 3 hours a week and it's every week and it's only 10 hours. But it wasn't. It was the 10 times 3, 30 hours of live teaching. But often it would overrun, which is absolutely fine because we wanted to you know, really maximize the time and the creativity together. But you could easily have added on some extra time there. Then you had to read scripts, you had to learn lines, you had to rehearse with people, you had to edit your tapes, you had to send it, all the admin stuff. And I'm not saying to complain about that, but I'm saying that it wasn't something that I went into lightly because I knew what it would take. But that sensation of saying at the beginning of that 10 weeks, I'm doing this, and for the next 10 weeks, I'm going to see what I'm capable of. I'm going to see what's possible. I'm going to give myself the opportunity to learn and grow and expand and really see what I'm made of. And alongside that, there was a lot of vulnerability with it also, because I trained 20 years ago and I left 5 months early with an agent and 2 jobs, and I'm confident in my abilities. But there's always part of you that worries or feels nervous when you put yourself out of your comfort zone. And even though lots of those things were very familiar, you know, it wasn't like I was learning how to drive a tractor or jump out of a plane in 10 weeks. Acting is something that I'm very familiar with and proficient at. But I was the oldest in the class. I hadn't been in this training environment for a long time. And sometimes when you put yourself in those places and spaces, you're holding a mirror up to yourself. You're seeing your weaknesses, if you like, if that's how you want to refer to it. You're seeing where the gaps are, where you're maybe not as confident as you hoped you would be. And also when I've done hot yoga as well, I've always paid attention to how often I'm going. What am I doing? What number class was that? And so the point of this story today is when you decide to go all in, it's okay to say that you are going to do the best that you can. So throughout that 10 weeks, for example, of the acting course, there were some weeks where I was definitely improvising. You know, we were away with the family, or my children were still awake rather, and I could hear them, and that was slightly distracting as well. And I wasn't able to have that clean slate and that feeling of, oh my goodness, I feel the best that I've ever felt, because it's not true. And mostly life is not like that. Even if we commit, even if we say yes, even if we make the decision, there is always a moment where we might say, yeah, but this all feels a lot as well. So I am opening up places for you if you want to go all in and really gather some data. Now, I'm not going to ask you to create spreadsheets or nerd out on percentages or anything like that, unless you want to, unless that is something that you would really benefit from. But I want you to give yourself the option to have the possibility of growth. And already I can hear people saying, well, I won't start now. I'll start in September because summer's coming and this is happening and we're away next weekend and all of these things. I really believe that you can make significant change in a little and often way. And the runner that I am right now, after 6 months of doing this for just 15 minutes every day, the changes that I've seen as a person, I could never have predicted that. And I always thought that you would only get big results if you were training for a marathon, or if you had a timer, or if somebody was coaching you and all of the rest of it. But I've proved the opposite to myself. So now I'm looking at where my limiting beliefs are. Where am I telling myself that I need all of this time or doing these things? And actually what I need to do is work smarter and not harder. I was saying this to my son this morning, that sometimes people say, for the next 10 years, this is going to be my focus. And they don't do anything until year 9. And then year 9 comes along and then they panic and then they say, right, I've got to do this immediately. And then they do it in a year. So instead of waiting 9 years, why not do the thing now? Why not go all in? If you want to find out more, send me a message. Let me know what you want to build, create, move, shift. I would love to know. Or you can go to my Work With Me page and message me through my website. Lots of love. See you soon. Bye.